Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Hunter from Outtenastrophotography, and yes, I got clear skies yet again, so join me tonight as we are imaging outside of the heavens of the summer sky, and we're going after a crowd favorite of mine, especially during the summer season, as we are going to be pointing our telescope to Cygnus, and we're going to be going after the North America Nebula, but not just the nebula itself, everything surrounding it as well, as I do have the wide field set up just in time for the upcoming summer season. Now, NGC 7000 is a wonderful target, especially for doing wide fields. For one, it's a very bright nebula in general that is very strong at hydrogen alpha, oxygen 3, and sulfur, as it is very close to the star Deneb as well. It's just a very fun target. There's a lot going on with the Cygnus wall, but the reason why I'm going narrowband tonight is, well, I miss the new moon cycle because we've had nothing but rain and clouds. It has been a terrible spring here on Delmarva, but with the clear skies tonight, and unfortunately the moon's back around at about 88%, so broadband is kind of out of the question for tonight, unfortunately. So because I really wanted to start on the project inside of Scorpio, dealing with the blue horsehead, which I have started on that already, but also wanted to do the Antares Nebula all in one panoramic shot. So we're going to have to wait on that for now. So we're going to be going straight narrowband tonight and shooting with the Optolong L Ultimate, a 3 nanometer filter with the Rokinon 135. So it's going to be a very, very fun night of imaging, as long as the clouds stay away, which hopefully we can get that tonight. And in fact, a couple days this week is actually looking quite nice and clear, especially tomorrow. Hopefully be capturing the transit of the International Space Station in front of the sun at about 6:30. So I'll have another follow-up video for that too, trying to set up for it. All right, now I got the rig outside. Let's go ahead and go over the specs of what we are going to be using tonight to image the North American Nebula. So tonight I'm going to be using the wide field setup, which is a Rokinon 135mm f2 camera lens, and I'm going to be shooting and using my one-shot color camera, the ASI 2600 MC Pro, one-shot color on top of the ZWO AM5 mounts with the pier extension and the carbon fiber tripod. I'm also going to be guiding with the ZWO ASI 120mm with the SV Bunny 30mm guide scope, and also with the Astrodonium setup. This is how the lens is being held together by this. Also using the ZWO electronic focus, and powering everything is going to be the 256GB version of the ZWO ASI Air Plus. And I forgot to mention for tonight, I am going to be shooting with the Optolong L Ultimate, which is a 3 nanometer bandpass hydrogen alpha and oxygen 3, which is perfect for the current moonlight tonight. Alright, now we're back here at the computer. I actually had to spend 2 nights on this target because on the first night I had to deal with a lot of low clouds and fog that were coming in from the Atlantic side, so I got about roughly an hour of usable data on the first night. But luckily the next night after, I ended up having complete clear skies throughout the entire night. So I already have everything stacked, and we're looking at about 7 hours of data with hydrogen alpha and oxygen 3. So this is what it looks like right out of the stack here with the Rokinon 135. And the position I have it is quite interesting because I included the Pelican, the North America, and then down here at the bottom is the clamshell. And you can see definitely the influences of the moonlight, especially on the southern side, is very prominent. So we're going to be getting rid of that first. And I've been using the new Graxpert quite a lot now, and it's done very well. And that's one of the first things I'm going to be doing, is getting rid of all those gradients there in the background. So I'm going to go over to Scripts and Toolbox, go over to Graxpert. My settings are already saved. I'm going to go ahead and click the check mark and let it do its thing. There's our background model, and then look at that. Did it perfectly. Now the next thing we're going to be using is Blur Exterminator to do deconvolution on the stars and the outside structures, because up here in the corners you can see I have a little bit of some astigmatism here, but with Blur Exterminator it's going to definitely take that. But I'm going to run 2 separate rounds of it. I'm going to do a correct only to fix the star shapes there in the corner, since this is a very, very fast system that I use with the Rokinon at f2. So with an APS-C sensor, no surprise that we do get a little bit of some artifacts there around the edges, but luckily this will take care of that. Alright, now that our both rounds of Blur Exterminator are complete, we can look back up here in the corners, and you can see we now have nice, beautiful round stars. So definitely a blessing of a tool that we have. So we did our background neutralization. We did Blur Exterminator. Let's do a little bit of some denoise now. I'm going to be using the brand new Graxpert denoise, which works very well too. Very comparable to the RC Astros noise exterminator. And the best part is, it doesn't cost you anything. You can also find that underneath the script and toolbox, Graxpert denoise. And I found that the strength of about 0.08 and a batch size of 4 does the job pretty well. And I do have videos on how to install the brand new Graxpert, and I'll be able to pin that up above so you can go ahead and reference yourself so you can get this. Alright, our denoising is complete. Things are looking quite nicely, especially the Cygnus wall is looking very nice out through here. So now the next step is to be doing a little bit of some color calibration. Now there is some people that would like to extract the channels and get the hydrogen alpha and the 2 bands of oxygen 3 and make their own version of the Hubble palette, which is using 2 narrowband filters. But I only did 1 for this. I kind of ran out of time to want to bring out the O3 and S2, but I kind of prefer this target as an HOO anyway. And the nice part is within spectrophotometric color calibration, since I did use the L Ultimate, it is already an option defaulted into the system. So I'm going to go ahead and select all those for the red, blue, and green. Drag that over to color calibrate so we can kind of take care of a little bit of this green and kind of get our stars a little bit more natural colored. Alright, now we're color calibrated. One last thing I will do before I start stretching the image is I need to resample this down, as this was a 2x drizzle because I am severely undersampled when using the 2600 with the Rokinon. I am definitely severely undersampled, so I usually put it back down to about 50%. Because if not, I am working with an extremely large image of over 12,000 pixels in each direction. So once we resampled that, go ahead and use one of our stretching scripts from Bill Blanchard, which does a really nice job. And look at that, we already got a pretty darn good image right away. You can just see the Cygnus walls very prominent in this image. Pelicans looking quite nice. And you got the clamshell down here. So now that our image is stretched, let's go ahead and extract the stars out so we can work on some of the detail in the nebulosity. So I'm going to be using Star Exterminator for that. Or you can use StarNet 2, which is a free version inside of Pixinsight. Alright, there's our stars image. We're just going to go ahead and rename them stars. And we're going to stick them off to the side here. So now we are left with the nebulosity in the background. So this is already looking pretty good. Some people like to use like other steps while using like narrowband normalization to get your HOO. And you got the traditional like this gold and like this blue. You can set it to that. You can make it more of a magenta. Or this magenta and gold. Which I won't be using narrowband normalization for this one because it kind of acts. I don't really like the colors for this. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring out the structure of these dark nebulae in here. And it's very simple. Just go to Script, Utilities, and find Dark Structure Enhancement. And I like to go a little bit more aggressive at about 0.6, especially for some of these objects, because I really want those dark regions to shine, especially for this one. And there we go. Now you can see the differences in the dark nebulae from going back and reapplied. Looks very, very nice. So now we're going to work on a little bit of bringing out some of this detail on our image. So, excuse me. I'm going to be going over to the range mask. And pick out the nebulae. Add a little bit of blur. Go ahead and drag it over and hide our mask. Let's spruce up these colors a little bit. Bring up some of the saturation. I'm also going to mess with a little bit of the curves. Let's mess with the colors a little bit. Get it to kind of where I want it, which is right about there. Then I'm going to take another mask here. I'm going to enhance this area in the center. Go back into the range selection tool. Be a little bit more aggressive because this is where the oxygen 3 is located, but since I was doing this near practically full moon, O3 is going to be very hindered because of the moonlight. So that looks pretty good there. So let's go ahead and bring in some color to the center here. A little bit of some green, some blue. Take out some of that red. It's going to make it a little bit more like oranges. bring that down a little bit. This is usually by preference at this point for what you're looking for. So something around there looks pretty good. I'm going to do a little bit of some sharpening here on the image. Go to utilities, and I like to use advanced sharpening. It's a very quick and easy tool. Instead of having to go through all of the unsharpened mask, this pretty much does it right for you over the whole entire image. And there we go. Start to see some nice little structure there in our image. I'm going to create another mask, and I'm going to work on a little bit of the background. Get this. I'm going to take this mask and invert it. There we go. Now I get to see a little bit of some contrast there in the background. There we go. Everything is looking pretty nice. I'm going to go ahead and rename this as starless. We're going to work on our stars a little bit. Open this back up. You can see we do have a lot of green in here, and that is not physically possible because green doesn't exist in stars. So I'm just going to simply use script utility correct for magenta stars, which will also take care of the magenta color stars that are kind of not visibly there, and it takes care of the green. Go ahead and run that for the stars, and all that green is gone. So now let's go ahead and combine our images together with the combination script that I have, which is also going to re-screen my stars. Go ahead and run that. And there we go. Got a beautiful looking image. We're actually going to take this a little bit of a step further too, because there is a lot of stars in this region and I don't want to make them as pronounced, so I'm going to do a little bit of some star reduction with this tool, also from Bill Blanchett and Mike Cranford. Everything that I'm going to be using today will be in the description below, so you can go ahead and install this to your Pixinsight as well. I'm going to go ahead and run the small star protection, and it just tones down these regions. Alright, so this is our reduced stars image, and that looks beautiful, I must say. And then with the clamshell down there, do some slight adjustments with the histogram tool. Make sure everything's lined up. Bring some of that red up. So add a little bit of some contrast. There we go. Now we got ourselves a nice solid image to end the day. Thank you for watching, everyone. Be sure to, want to help out the channel,
subscribe to the channel. I do a lot of these Pixinsight kind of like tutorials and imaging sessions, and as well as keep up with some of the latest news regarding anything in the astrophotography world. Please subscribe to the channel. We're getting fairly close now to our first 1,000 subscribers, and that really helps me out and keeps me motivated on doing stuff like this for everyone to enjoy. So leave a like, comment, tell me what will you do, and we do have memberships now to the channel of only about 99 cents, and you want to do some processing yourself, members will have access to download any data that I use in these videos and be able to use for your own work and follow through any of the other Pixinsight tutorial videos that I have on the channel. So thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.